It's going to work a whole lot better if I actually get myself unmuted. Hi, guys. Welcome to Inner Game Success Circle for Holy Cow. Is it already August? How on earth did that happen? I mean, seriously, right? Let me get over here to my notes so I even remember what it is we are talking about today. Hi, Bill. Great to see you. Get myself over here. All right, I'm about to get myself sorted. Hi, Ken. Great to have you with us here today. Good to see you guys. Looks like you men are in charge today, so this is kind of fun. Um, yeah, exactly, exactly. So since you guys already know me, but I'm going to go through the little intro anyway for the sake of the people who grab the replay that is always on the dashboard. I don't know if you guys have noticed, you probably have, because of course you have to go to the dashboard to even get in here to this room. But you'll notice that all of our Inner Game Success Circle sessions are archived right there on that dashboard. So you have access to go back and listen to those anytime you choose. You can binge watch or however suits you. It's all good. But for those who are grabbing and joining us on the replay, let me just presence what it is we're doing here and why we're doing it. So first of all, you've heard me say this before. As far as I'm concerned, all the strategies, tactics, and tech in the world are not worth a hill of beans if the thing standing in your way is you. And my biggest gripe when it comes to the whole personal development space. Hi, Danny. Oh, well, Danny can't hear me yet. He's still connecting. My biggest gripe when it comes to the personal development space. Hi, Danny. Now you can hear me. Is that when people start talking about mindset, they think it all lives up here, and they're kind of addressing it from the chin up. They're like, let me just fix my attitude, let me just think about this a different way, let me tell a different story, let me think positive. And then when that doesn't work for them, then they start beating themselves up and they start to think, well, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe this was just not meant to be. Maybe I should just chuck it all and go get a job at Starbucks. And the truth is, yes, the quote unquote mindset is the thing that's getting in the way, but the problem is it doesn't live up here. The strongest things that are driving you are happening behind the scenes. It is way deeper than just think a different thought. Because the truth is, something happened. There was an actual visceral sensation in you. This is the part of you that we're working with right now, is the part of you that makes you slam on the brakes and jerk the steering wheel in the split second before you have the conscious thought, that SOB just cut me off. This is the part that starts to run even before you can tell yourself, well, let me just reframe this. And the problem is, because it starts to run that quickly and that automatically, by the time you actually recognize that it's running, you're already behind the power curve. Which is why it can A, feel so hard to turn it around, and B, can leave you feeling like you're constantly pushing a rock uphill, that everything is way harder than it needs to be. My job is to help you catch what's happening, to help you actually engineer what's running in the background so it starts to run in your favor. So instead of you having to push against it all the time, you can work with it. You know what to expect, you know how to use it. And much like the way NASA is able to slingshot a satellite around the moon, you can do the same thing when you understand how you're wired. And that is exactly the kind of work that I do with people. What we're doing here in our Inner Game Success Circle is we're taking the first cut. We're taking the first level at this. So as always, I will do a little mini training for you guys, and then I'll open the floor for whatever questions I can support you with. Some of you actually have your Unflappable home study recordings, so you might have questions coming from there, or you might just be dealing with questions of things that are coming up in your own life and your own business. And my request is that as you start thinking about these questions, start thinking of it from the perspective of what is the frustrating and mysterious behavior you're noticing in yourself that you suspect might be getting in your way? What is the frustrating and mysterious behavior you notice in yourself that you suspect might be getting in your way? So I'm going to let you guys think on that, but I want to take just a minute while you're working on that and dig into our topic for the day. I'm trying to get my notes moved out of the way so I can see you and my notes at the same time. All right. I think we're closer now. Yeah. I got to get that window out of the way. All right. So the question that I'm going to dig into today is one that I got through the community online. And this question is, I'm really busy and I'm exhausted, but I've tried just taking a break and that's not really helping me any. What do I do now? Have I hit the burnout wall? What's going on here? And the first thing I want to say to this question is it's important to understand that we're all going to go through phases like this, whether we are working inside an organization or running our own business. There are going to be phases where you feel like, geesh, I am working all the time. And yet it feels like something's missing. But here's the thing. When you feel like you're working all the time, you're getting really exhausted, and you're noticing that just taking a break isn't really helping you. I mean, it's not that you're physically tired, is what I'm trying to say. You realize, no, I actually did eat a decent lunch. I actually have been going to bed on time. I've actually been taking care of myself. This is not a physical issue. So I'm clear on that. But why is it that I feel so depleted? And when we go through this phase, it's important to note a couple of things. First of all, it's an important part of the process. And for high achievers like every single one of you in this group, one of the dangers is that you are really, really good at sucking up, muscling through, and bulldozing right over top of that feeling. The unfortunate thing is it's actually leaving you missing out on something, because there's always important data in that sensation that you can use. So let's talk about what's really going on when you're starting to feel depleted and you've already figured out, all right, this is not, it's not a physical issue. I've handled the physical aspects and I'm still feeling really depleted. What's going on? And the question that I would ask you is, are you bored? Are you bored? Because what we're going to talk about today is the difference between burned out, which is the part that turns into a physical issue, and bored, which is almost worse, because if you are bored, it's going to play in your system, and it's going to sound a little strange when I say it, but I'm going to ask you to go with me on this. It's going to play in your system almost like you are spiritually depleted, mentally depleted. And the mistake that people make in this place is they think, I'm really busy. How can I be bored? But the important distinction here is action does not equal stimulation. Just because you're busy doesn't mean that you're stimulated, doesn't mean that you're growing, doesn't mean that you're getting the juice out of it. I want you to think of it as the difference between a little whirlpool eddy. If you've ever noticed like a fast moving creek or a fast moving river, the water in the middle of the river is moving fast. It's flowing. It's going somewhere. But along the edges, sometimes you'll see these little whirlpools. And the water over there is still spinning like crazy, but all of the leaves and the trash and the crap are stuck in that spin and nothing's going anywhere. This is the same thing that is happening to you when you are busy, you're working hard, but you're bored out of your ever-loving mind. Maybe, hi, Nancy, great to see you. Maybe the intellectual stimulation isn't there for you anymore. Maybe the horizon in front of you isn't bright enough anymore. Maybe you're starting to feel like you're at a dead end. I mean, the question to ask is, am I bored? And for people like you, it's a more powerful question than you may think. So this month with my highest level leaders mastery clients, we are working specifically with the 4 higher order human needs. Higher order. That means beyond air, water, shelter, survival, food, those kinds of things. Once we get beyond survival, every single human being comes hardwired with 4 higher level needs. And those needs are as critical to your success, and some would even say, yes, your survival, as your basic survival requirements. One of those needs is the need to play, to explore, to have adventure, to feel your own power run. And let me be very clear, when I'm talking about this higher order need to play, I'm not necessarily talking about entertainment, distraction, or diversion. Those are valuable. They serve a different place. But what I'm talking about here on this higher order human need to play is very literally the aspect of feeling your own power run. Feeling your own power run. This is the drive to mix it up with the world, to try things out, to push the edge. This need is the same need that initially, when you were a baby, initially drew you to learn to roll over, to sit up, to stand, to walk, to run, to build, to create, to make something new. It is still running in you. Which means when you don't get a chance to exercise that, whether it's in the context of the job that you do in another organization, or it's the context of your own business, because you're so deep in the weeds, you're so focused on the close-in target, you're actually getting bored. And for high achievers and leaders like you, here's the other thing you need to know, and this is one of the things that I'm doing with my leaders mastery clients, because the question is not, which of these needs applies to me, because they're all there, but the question is, which is the need that's driving me right now, and to what degree? Because we come with all 4, but every single one of you is wired slightly differently. You're going to require more of one than the other. Now, here's a little cheat note for you guys. If you're in my orbit at all, I know that you are a leader and a high achiever, which means, by definition, this particular need to play, hear it a different way, this particular need to feel your own power run is going to be more important for you than other people. And as I mentioned before, the flip side, part of what's made you so successful as you are right now is also the thing that is potentially going to get in your way, which is you're really, really good at sucking it up, muscling through, putting your head down, bulldozing over, and not feeling it. So your opportunity is to begin to explore, where am I actually bored? Because if you're bored, that is actually the part of you that is desperately looking for the next horizon. Because if bored is inside of you, it's going to show up as stagnation in your work, which includes stagnation in your business. And the truth is, and you already know this, nothing changes until something changes. So the question is, what do you change and how do you do it? So the solution when you're bored is a little bit counterintuitive, as is usually the case when it comes to the whole inner work game. The approach that most people take when they figure out they're bored is, let me just try a different tactic, AKA shiny object syndrome. Let me go chase another rabbit. Let me go try something else. Let me go see how this works. But the thing that they run up against is now they're expending all of this energy, but they're not getting the results that they want because they're scattered. So what are you supposed to do? Here's the thing. If what you are experiencing is boredom, what you really need is a bigger goal. You need a bigger goal. And this is the place where I challenge you to take that goal all the way to what I call the impossible edge. The place where you say, oh, that's not possible for me. This is the same philosophy. If you're one of these people who's reading 10x is easier than 2x, and I am one of them as well, but this is the same philosophy behind 10x is easier than 2x. Because when you aim for that bigger goal, now you actually get a chance to play with it. And because the way that you get it working in your favor is, because this is the impossible goal anyway, how could I ever possibly get there? Now you get a chance to pretend. If I were to pretend that this was possible, then what? And you're looking for, what is the thing that draws me forward? What is the thing that lights me up? Because the truth of the matter is, if you set a bigger goal, a good portion of what you're doing right now isn't actually going to fit anymore. There's an expansion that comes in that. There's a freedom that comes in that. So that is the thought nugget that I'm going to leave you with today. And now I want to come back to you guys. Which part?
Like the last 30 seconds.
The last 30 seconds. Probably not. So the idea is to set a bigger goal, because if you set a bigger goal, a good portion of what you're doing right now is no longer going to fit. When you set that bigger goal, you're going to find that there are things that you are doing, energy that you are expending, that actually doesn't align with that bigger goal. Yeah, creating that unrealistic goal. I call it the impossible edge. Go for the impossible goal. Yeah. And then putting yourself in that space of pretending, and I use that word pretending deliberately, because what we're doing is we're tricking your system here. Because there's still a very strong part of the system for every single one of you who are high achievers that says, well, if I set this goal and I don't hit it, then I failed, and that's a whole nother path that we have to go down. But I want you to set the impossible goal for the BHAG. Exactly. Set that impossible, that big, hairy, audacious goal. Set the impossible goal, Because when you do that, there's a good portion of what's taking up your resources, internal and external, right now, that's going to fall away. And it's going to require you to bring in something else. And I want you to remember the whole driving philosophy behind this. I mean, it comes back to the babies. We're not all that. Sorry, guys, I'm 56 and I'm still not much older than the day I was born. We all come back to babies. What drove us then is what drives us now. Because think about it. I mean, Danny, you've got young kids. How does a baby learn to roll over? They don't roll over because I'm going to get up and go roll over today. No, they roll over because they look up and they're like, that's interesting. What is that? What is that? I want to see that. And at some point in the, I want to see that, and they reach out, they accidentally roll over. Nobody's more surprised than the baby when it happens. But it's that drawing forward, that thing that they want. Now, the beautiful thing that babies have that we don't seem to have anymore is they don't have this jazz that says, oh, that's impossible for me to reach it. They're just like, I can see it, I can reach for it. That's the part I want you to get back to. Yeah. Thank you, Ken. Thank you for inspiring that. Did I answer your question? Did I give you what you needed? Did I repeat the part you wanted to hear again? Okay, awesome. So let me open it to you guys. What is it? From the lens of what is the mysterious, frustrating behavior you're noticing in yourself that you suspect might be getting in your way? And how can I support you? Yes, Nancy. We'll go Nancy first and then Bill.
I've got a good one.
All righty.
I do tend to squirrel around a little bit as far as my attention goes. And I have developed something that I'm really proud of and I like a lot. And I have a background in intellectual property law. I'll land that there. And it takes a lot, like once you've been through the grinder of that to like be cool and be more open with your IP and stuff. It's not natural for me anymore. Mm-hmm. And so Martha, you know what? I've developed something that's kind of unique. It's different. Mm-hmm. And last Saturday, this is coming to something, so give me a second. Last Saturday, I was introduced by a mutual friend, to someone who runs something that's not too far off the mark of what I'm doing as far as team building and development here in my Cincinnati area. And she's working with the big dogs, Procter and Gamble and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. This great conversation. We hit it off like peas and carrots. Let's have lunch. Let's do this. And she's been ghosting me. Like I have reached out a couple of times and now my ding, 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 nail it down. And so, I have been working on the outline of my book to kind of companion along with this, which would secure a little bit of, at least plant my flag as the first to come up with this thing. Right. And at the same time, I've been accepted as part of another book, another thing, and then a live event October 6th through 8th that I'm preparing for. And suddenly I look up and I have again overcommitted. And it's saying yes when I need to say no and set boundaries. And it keeps happening, even though I'm like, ooh, this is a great opportunity. This is going to be helpful to me in my business. And it might be, it probably will be. And then here I am, spread like, how did Bilbo Baggins say it? Not enough butter spread over too much toast or something.
Right. Right.
So I'll take any suggestions y'all have, but now I have this fire under my butt. Like now I've got to write a book like today, now, or somebody's going to take my great idea. Y'all.
Notice what you just said, because there's the nugget right there.
It's fear driven. And if I write this book,
fear driven that somebody else will take my idea. Mm-hmm. That there's not enough uniqueness in me to claim my space on the planet.
Yeah.
That's the piece. And so there's an aspect of you that, forgive the metaphor, but that essentially is kind of like a puppy running around the dog park, peeing on everything he can to mark it for his own territory. So what there is to do is, first of all, take a deep breath and just say, wow, isn't that fascinating? Isn't that fascinating? And the truth is, you come by that programming very honestly. Like you said, you spent a long time in intellectual property law. Now, what we know is that that programming did not grow out of intellectual property law. The programming is actually what led you to intellectual property law.
Yep.
So the opportunity is then to start to pull this back and then begin to explore, because at the same, I hate it when people throw everything into the fear bucket, because it's not fair and it's not useful and it just turns into a really big hammer. The important thing is to begin to recognize, wait a minute, where's the hesitation coming from? And what I'm hearing, it's what you just said. It's like there's an aspect of me that, not all of you, by the way, there is an aspect of you that's saying, I'm not yet unique enough to claim my space on the planet. So let me hurry up and plant my flag everywhere before somebody else can take it. So what I would encourage you to do is to just very, very gently, very lightly hold the question around, what is different about the way that I do it? And the truth is, I mean, for every single person here, even if every single one of you had exactly the same business model in exactly the same niche, you would not be the same.
Yeah.
You can't be. You can't be. It's impossible. It is literally impossible, because you are different. You have different experiences. You have different programming. You have different, I mean, even your physical characteristics, your likes, your dislikes, they are all different. They come together to make you uniquely you. And that also contributes to the work that you do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, let's come to you, Bill. What's up?
I've noticed a pattern. It could be two patterns that are repetitive. I love coming to live interactions, like Inner Success Circle. Went to the Inner Success Circle last July. Showed up in advance, got energized. The last 10 minutes, I wanted to go back and review that 10 minutes when it's it out there so I could make my notes. It's been a month, haven't done that. Next Inner Circle, show up beginning, getting energized right here. If I have to make notes, is it going to be another month? It's that sort of situation. The live interaction energizes me, but it's not like the topic. This doesn't necessarily. I don't know quite what it is. And a similar thing. I went to the TV6 with Barry Baumgartner. Next step, and I've noticed this with other people, Dean Graziosi. There's a next step, like Leap or Dean Graziosi's Launchpad. And I decided, well, it's not ready. I'm not ready for it at this point, which is correct. But then I feel like I'm being left behind, and so it's hard. So I get demotivated. So the image that comes to mind, when I was in school long ago, I liked being head of the class. When I'm in the class, everybody else, I have a chance to be competitive, to be the head. I'm motivated. When the class is over, like Inner Success Circle in July is over, or TVE6 is over, that motivation just sort of goes away. And I got all this stuff that's like 10 minutes of going back to Inner Success Circle, making up my notes. Haven't done it.
Yep. Okay. So I got good news and bad news for you, Bill. The good news is what you are describing right there of, I want to be the head of the class. Now, here's the part that you're not saying, but is also under there, is I want other people to see me as the head of the class. This is a very, very good thing, even though a lot of us have been told over the course of our lives that it's not. It's actually a good thing. And it is the hallmark of someone who carries the energetic profile of the charismatic leader. This is someone who is intended to be seen. This is someone who is intended to be recognized, to be out front. Problem is, by definition, if you're going to be in front, you have to have somebody to be in front of. So your opportunity is it's now time for you to create your platform, to create your own audience in some fashion. It is, again, this is going to sound a little bit weird when I say it, but it is time for you to begin to build your community, your tribe, the one that you lead, the one that you to actually create your own stage, figuratively. It may turn out to be literally, but it's time for you to start to create your own group, and it can start very simple. I think you're writing a book, right?
No.
No. What are you up to right now?
I retired after life of all work, no play. I'm trying to learn how to play, and I spend the next 14 months trying to transition to play. And then I'm thinking I might become a coach, teaching other people how, when they retire, to get out of the work mode, to make friends outside of work and things like that.
Nancy, you and Bill might have a conversation. And yeah, so what you're feeling pulled toward is, yeah, I got to be out front. I got to be seen. Now, here's the rub, because remember, the bigger the front, the bigger the back. You're accustomed to being the head of the class. I've got to be the best in the class. I want to be seen as the best in the class. I need to be seen as the best in the class. And when you are making a massive transition like this, there are going to be, how do I want to say this? Opportunities for lots of people to see you as less than perfect, as still figuring it out. Now what we have to do is we have to take that same charismatic leader wiring, that same energy that wants to be seen and wants to be out front, and direct it into the willingness to explore and play. So essentially, and this is, I love that you said what you're trying to figure out now is how to play. Because you're a charismatic leader, and that this is a place that I would love to dig more deeply into with you, because somewhere in there, your version of play is going to look different than somebody else's version of play. And, in this short conversation, I can't tell you what's going to be the driver behind that. So, for example, I'll just give you an example from my own life. For me, frivolous play, I don't even know what that is. I don't quite get that. I'm not the girl who goes out dancing. While I love dancing to the music, sort of my version of dancing, before we come on here, I'm not the girl who goes out dancing. Now, I want to play. I want to be out there scuba diving. That is my version of play. Another version of play for me is actually building things, remodeling real estate, building businesses, building bank accounts. For me, that's play. That's juicy. Sitting around playing cards or Scrabble, I can tolerate that for about an hour, and then I'm like, eh. So this is where I encourage you to pull the string and begin to consider, if you were going to play with building your platform and building your own stage, what might that look like? Does that land? Do you hear something familiar in there?
It's 50% of it, but the other 50% is like I want to get some skills first, and right now I'm getting bored getting the skills when I'm not in the live in a setting like right now.
Exactly. Exactly. Time to stop studying the skills, time to just play with them. See, this is the other thing that they lie to us about. They tell us we have to figure out how to do it and then go do it. The truth is, it doesn't work that way. You just go do it and then you figure it out. That's where the play comes from. That's where the creation comes from. And by the way, that's also where the part that makes you more unique than anybody else on the planet, that's where that comes from too.
That helps.
Yeah. Do not beat yourself up for not, you are a person. I mean, again, this is part of your charismatic leader wiring. You need people. You need the energy of other people. This is part of what makes you who you are. It's part of what makes you good at what you're good at. And it's what is going to make you an effing amazing coach. So stop punishing yourself by making yourself sit in the box and just go play with something. Do the thing. Even if it's grabbing a couple of friends and saying, hey, this is the idea I'm playing with. Let's talk it out. Can I bounce these ideas off you? And like I said, you said something that has me believe that you and Nancy might have some fabulous conversations. Let me see what I got over here. I'll be right with you. If you had a Ferrari, you wouldn't spend that much time reading the manual. You'd jump in and drive. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Yes, Ken, what you got for me, my friend? I can't read the comments without my glasses, but
I got new ones, so I can actually see now.
woohoo!
Well, I feel like I'm in Nancy's spot and Bill's spot. I ended up creating this big thing or idea or whatever. And then I like think of all the gazillion things I need to do to potentially make that work, going in 50 different directions and nowhere all at once. And then much just like Bill, I guess it was like where Nancy said you feel like somebody, I had shown somebody stupidly, shown somebody like what I was going to do, only to find out like they seemingly swiped it from me. I'm like, okay, well, that didn't work out so great because, good ideas don't exactly happen every day.
I'm going to push back on you on that one.
All right, well, in your everyone's little world, they might not happen. The whole world, yes. But anyway, so try doing a whole bunch of things from I'm not going to be able to like write code and make my own program, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, much like Bill, got up at 6 o'clock in the morning for 3 hours. I read book, blah, blah, blah. Well, I think it was last week. I'm like, I am sick and tired of doing detail stuff behind the computer screen. I did half of this to not be the person stuck behind the computer screen, partially in the first place. And like, here I am, stuck behind the computer screen. So we're like, well, that doesn't work. Last time I had signed up for something 2 days out of the office, learned about like different insurance things.
Mm-hmm.
Client problem popped up, had to do sales tax, most boring thing in the world, right? But yet, you kind of have to do it. So ended up not going there doing sales tax because, you have to do it. So then same group had something else. I'm like, okay, I'm getting the heck out of the office before I drive myself to boredom. Went to the office, met 3 different guys, 3 different scenarios, 3 different business cards. So I'm going to meet with one next week, all a part of the big thing that might get stolen. So spoke to them yesterday, went into New York City. Oh boy, wasn't that fun. I worked in New York for like 3 months before I absolutely just could not stand it anymore. Now I know why everybody runs around, because if you miss the subway or the train or whatever, you gotta wait like a half hour more. Jeez. Yeah, love that. That's great. Anyway, again, same thing. Met two other guys yesterday. Spoke to one before, and back to the I don't have to be the expert on everything. Ended up working on getting a new client where they actually hit all of the cylinders that I need to do or fill. So and literally, through all of the baloney I had done for the last 2 years of finding the right people to connect with, at least now that I found the right person to connect with, it's like, boom, 45 minutes. I didn't need to know all the difficult annuity type stuff. I literally picked up the phone, asked them, here's the client, here's where they're at, here's what they want to do, blah, blah, blah. They can do it this way. Okay, great. Try to convince them of this thing because it will probably work out better. So, what is it? This will be the smallest big step I've ever taken. So that's kind of where I'm at, that all the pieces, as small as they might be, as according to the rest of the world, the smallest client there may be, but it'll be like the biggest step kind of all at the same time. And sorry, but getting away from the computer screen and or the books. So it's very odd that all of this happened in like a 2-week time frame, that it's like, oh, okay, you need to stop reading, stop researching. Granted, that's probably a comfort level for me, as opposed to getting out, which I'm well aware of, which was part of my going to have to be learning curve of some sort, that seemingly is starting to take place. So, with all of that, could you somehow surmise all of that?
Is there a question in there somewhere?
I don't know.
Because I do have a couple of comments, but I want to see if there's a specific question that you have.
Between the Bill thing, Nancy thing, and whatever else thing of, like for me, making a big enough thing, that is not a problem for me. I can create some pretty big things so much that it'd be like, okay, what direction do I go in first? And I've done that. So I'm like, well, I got to take at least one step. So that's beautiful. That's what the boredom, got to do something different, get out from the computer, go meet people and see what's going on. Oh yeah, and this other guy yesterday, he filled a different spot. I'm not quite there yet or have anyone for that yet, but that'll be okay. Blah, blah, blah. You need this now? Probably. Okay. So
awesome. I mean, it sounds like you're making a lot of really, really good progress. And I want to go back to the part where you said good ideas don't come on every day. And I understand what you mean, is that for us personally, to find an idea that we get really lit up and on fire about, when that comes along, those don't necessarily come along every day. And when you share it with somebody else, and it sounds like they're going to take your idea and run with it, just remember, it comes back to that very first conversation we were having with Nancy. They will never be able to see your vision the way that you see your vision. It might sound on the surface like you're doing the same thing. I mean, heck, when you get down to it, at the end of the day, there's nothing new under the sun. Do you know how many thousands of success coaches and mindset coaches are out there on the planet right now? I mean,
but they're not Martha.
Precisely. And that's my point. That's my point. And nobody else has your vision either, Ken. And the vision that you're putting together is you and how you fit into it. So let the other person do their thing. I am one of those people, interestingly, that I don't worry about people stealing my stuff. I never have. I mean, and in fact, when I meet somebody else in the space who's doing work very similar to mine, I actually look at them as a team member as opposed to competition. Because at the truth of the day, my ultimate overall driving mission is that every human on the planet have the tools and the training to attend to their own fear, creating space for everlasting peace. I cannot do that alone. I can't. I can't reach every human on the planet. And even if I could, they wouldn't be able to hear me. It's the same thing with the work that you do and even the vision that you're putting together. You know, I just look at them as team members, as somebody else who's going to serve the people that would drive you up the ever-loving wall. So you don't have to. Yay.
Yeah, I guess I kind of made myself feel a little bit better that I'm like, okay, even if you see the big picture, you're still not going to do what I want to do the way I'm going to do it, how I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of make myself feel a little bit better that way.
Yeah. I encourage you to allow yourself to feel a whole lot better, because you are, and every single one of you, every single one of us is absolutely unique on the planet. Any last questions? As you can see, I am running single threaded today. Andrea is on vacation in Hawaii, not on Maui. So I am running single threaded today. I do want to give you guys a heads up to keep an eye on your inbox on the 1st of September, because speaking of fighting boredom, I was getting some of that too, and was kind of, because one of the other characteristics of boredom, remember I said boredom in you turns into stagnation in your work, and I felt like I had sort of hit an edge. I was making some incremental forward progress, but I wasn't really, I am the person who needs the thrill of the exponential increase, of the exponential growth. I need the exponential jump. I mean, that's how you become a spy. You have a thing, you need a little bit of thrill. So that's just hardwired in me. And over the years, I have learned that there are smarter and healthier ways to get my thrills than perhaps some of the behaviors that I might have engaged in high school that I will not share at this point. So suffice it to say, I was discovering I was getting a little bit stagnant. And the same thing I said to you guys, nothing changes until something changes. So I changed something. And I can honestly say this is truly the most fun I've had in my business in a long time. And that is all I'm going to say for the moment. So keep an eye on your inbox on the 1st of September when I will let the cat out of the bag. So any last comments or questions before you go? Thank you for the woot woot, Nancy. Yes, Ken.
You're not going to say you're retiring, are you?
No. That's never going to happen. That's never go. Are you kidding? I am having too much fun to retire at this point.
That's what makes work easy.
Precisely. That's what I am all about. All right, guys, I am going to send you off into your day, giving you all best wishes, and I will see you next month. And like I said, keep an eye on your inbox on the 1st of September. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Martha.
You're welcome.
Bye.